Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in on the Central YouTube channel as we are making history today with an interview of an opposing coach. We have never done this before, but I'm very excited to talk with this guy. Some of you know him. This is Coach Rob Heller, and he is a Central graduate of 2003, now the head coach of the Ellsworth High School football team, and we got a lot to talk about. Coach Heller, thank you so much for making history with us and taking some time tonight to talk to us.
Thanks for having me, Nami. Looking forward to it.
So you are not only the head coach at Ellsworth, you are also the assistant principal. And so obviously have had a very successful career in education. And you told me off the air that this is a new position for you. So starting as the assistant principal just new this year, how's that been going for you so far?
So far, so good. After being in the classroom for 17 years, trying to emulate my idol, Mike Bird, as a tech ed teacher, taking the next step in the professional journey. And I don't necessarily have a routine, but it's going well so far.
That's awesome. And I'm sure you'll do great things as an administrator, just like you did as a teacher. So the reason I wanted to have you on there is because I know a lot of our viewers will remember your days, particularly your days at Central on the gridiron. Obviously, a very stellar career and lots of accolades. Catch us up on your life. You mentioned 17 years in teaching. Catch us up on your life since you graduated from Central in 2003.
Well, after high school, I attended UW Stout. Ended up playing a year of football and 4 years of baseball at Stout. Graduated in 2007. Had a lot of fun playing college sports. Made a lot of friends. And really, this whole journey really started with a conversation with Mike Bird in a wrestling practice. Asked me what I wanted to do after high school, and I didn't really know as a kid. When he brought up teaching, I thought of English and math. Never really thought of tech ed being an option. He's like, you can be a tech ed teacher and you can coach. And I'm like, well, that sounds awesome. I loved woodshop. I obviously loved athletics. I loved my coaches in high school. And ever since my sophomore year of high school there in that wrestling room, I decided I want to be a tech ed teacher. Stout was the place to go for tech ed. So took off, went off to Stout, been in the classroom for 17 years, started off in Butternut, home of the Butternut Midgets, where I was a basketball coach for 1 year. Probably the only basketball basketball coach in the state with cauliflower ear. That was a lot of fun coaching those guys. Made my way back closer to home in Viroqua, where I coached some football, wrestling, and baseball for 5-6 years, and then got closer to where I attended college here in Ellsworth, which is only about 40 minutes away from Menominee, and I've been here the last 11 years, and it's been a lot of fun.
And how long have you been the head coach for the football team there at Ellsworth?
This will be year 10.
So, and you've had quite a bit of success with that Ellsworth football program. Was I right that you made it to the state championship 1 year?
Yeah, we were in the state finals in 2021. We played Catholic Memorial. I believe Coach Ambrose's son, Drew, was coaching Franklin down there that year, too. So we had two Central grads down at Madison, which was pretty cool. Seeing those guys and talking to Drew a little bit, that was an awesome experience. And we've got the football program in a good place. Normally, people are thinking of Ellsworth as a wrestling school, and we are traditionally a really good wrestling school, but it's been a real pleasure to kind of turn the football program around and being competitive in a really tough middle border conference.
And you certainly have done that and built that Ellsworth football program into a force. And of course, you bring them into town tomorrow to face your alma mater. How excited are you to be coaching tomorrow on the field where you had so many great successes as a player?
Yeah, I've thought about it a lot over the past year. After we got Logan and Central on the schedule, playing Logan last week was unique, just with so many memories of the rivalry and everything. Got to play against a couple of former foes. Travis Check, a bunch of his nephews were playing for Logan, so they're taking up the Check name really good. Quality athletes. They got a good team. But as far as playing Central, it's kind of odd with it coming so soon, being less than 24 hours away now, getting on the field. The fields change a lot, but I'm sure, it'll be nice to see a lot of familiar faces, friends, family, coaches. I know there's a few coaches still on the staff. I've had some good conversations with Coach Service over there, being the AD at Logan. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a pretty cool experience.
Awesome. So, Coach Heller, think back to your playing days. What are some lessons that you took from Central football that you were able to apply to your life as an educator and now as an administrator and a coach?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience being able to have some of the athletic success that I had and having a lot of great teammates. I think of Andy Colburn and Nick Meinertz and guys like that. Adam Zilke, BJ Olson, Mike Mueller, those guys. But When I reflect on that stuff, I really look back at my coaches, Coach Kaler, Coach Degatano, Chris Novich, Colburn, Erickson, Bird, all those guys. They were really good at coaching everybody, not just the athletes. And they were able to build quality relationships with the best player on the team and some of the guys that might have needed football more than football needed them. And I really try to emulate those guys when I coach. I try to, find time to reach out and talk to every player each and every day, ask them about their personal life. It's so much more than just football. And being able to build those relationships and have an impact on young people's lives like that, I think that's a pretty cool feeling. And I see a lot of those guys after they graduate and they come up, and it's nice to hear what they have to say about you too. And I really just try to, like I said, emulate those guys that I looked up to when I was in high school and had such a great experience with.
And how awesome is that? And you're right. At the end of the day, coaching comes down to those relationships, and the wins, the losses, they come and go, but the relationships are things that stay forever. And that's really what it's all about. Coach Colburn wanted me to ask. Now, a lot of that staff that you're going to see across the side on the other sideline tomorrow night is different than what was there when you were there. Coach Colburn's been a mainstay. He'll be there. He wanted me to ask, what did you think of your linebacker coach when you were playing at Central?
Well, they held me accountable. I think of so many of those guys on the defensive side of the ball, Degatano, and he's wore a lot of different hats over the year. I think he coached defense, offense, O-line, backs. I mean, he's a jack of all trades. So, like I said, I really try to, do like those guys did for me in high school. They're really knowledgeable about the game. But those guys, they had a good time with you and they had fun. But when it came down to coaching football and holding you accountable, I don't know if there are any other guys in the state I'd rather play for. They're good guys. They knew their stuff. They put in their time, and they always had us ready to go on Friday nights. So
that's awesome, and it'll be a chance for you to meet with Colburn tomorrow before the game and probably after, and catch up on some of the old times. I'm excited for that. So let's talk. You probably don't want to talk a lot about last week, a tough, heartbreaking loss. It was a thriller, though. 22-21 loss to Logan. That was at your place. Walk us through that game. Obviously, we were up at Wanakee, and that didn't go well for the Riverhawks either. So we didn't get a chance to keep real close tabs on your game. Walk us through that game a little bit, some of the highlights from that game.
Yeah, it was a defensive struggle at first. No one put any points up, 0-0 at half. It very much looked like a week one contest for both sides. I think both coaches would have liked their players to be in a little better shape. We were getting bit by the cramp bug pretty bad by the end of the game, which is not an excuse, but the scoring started to open up in the second half, and it was an epic battle. Both teams played really hard. I think both coaches would agree they'd like to execute a little better. From throwing the ball on third and 8 there for Logan and causing an unnecessary turnover to, having a breakdown and prevent defense and not having our guys ready to go in certain situational football on our side. But it was a great week one game. Logan's a quality opponent. I think they're much improved. They're a good football team. You got a lot of athletes, a lot of playmakers, a lot of size. That gave us some problems. We were outsized, out physical a little bit, but definitely a good week one game to help prepare us for, our middle border conference, which is a tough conference, one of the tougher Division IV conferences in the state. And that's really why we were looking forward to getting Logan and Central on our schedule. You guys are quality programs. You're going to put us in a good place before we enter conference play in week 3.
Absolutely. It's interesting you mentioned the cramping because Central also had that issue last week. We'll see if the guys are a little more hydrated and ready to go this week on both sides. That'll be something to watch, definitely. So let's turn our attention to tomorrow night. The game got moved up to 6 o'clock. If you have not heard that, I know you've heard that, but if our viewers haven't heard that yet, so make sure you get to UWL. I think the doors are opening at 5:15. Coach Heller, what's it going to take for you to bring your squad in and get a W against that alma mater of yours?
Yeah, I think we're going to see some similar players. I think Central's going to be a little bigger than us, but what we lack in size, we make up for in heart. Like I said last week, it wasn't for lack of effort; it was for lack of execution. We're hoping to have a more solid game plan in place. Execution is going to have to be better if we expect to get out of there with a win. Definitely a quality football program down there. Made it to level 2 last year before running into Wanakee, so they're firing on all cylinders. Probably hungry to get in the win column after playing Wanakee week 1. And I'm sure they're going to be coming off the ball with their hair on fire, ready to go. First game on their home field. Like I said, we're going to have to clean up our execution. We're going to have some playmakers other than Colson on offense and step up some defensive responsibilities on the defensive side of the ball as well if we're going to come out of there with a win.
Well, I'm for one, I'm very, very excited about this matchup. I'm excited to see you. I'm excited to see your squad, and I'm excited to see Central on their home field, as you talked about. I want to thank you for taking time today. I mentioned to a couple people today at school, we had our in-service today. I mentioned to a couple people that I was going to be people that would know you, people that have been around a while, that I was going to be interviewing you. I can't tell you how proud Central High School is of you and the work that you're doing. And we just like watching you. And I'm going to tell you that we are all Ellsworth football fans except for tomorrow night. And I hope you understand that. So we are rooting for you on every other day of the year and every other game. Tomorrow night, I hope for a good game. Let's hope for no injuries. Let's hope for an exciting game, and we'll see who comes out on top. I want to just thank you very much for your time. As I said, first opposing coach that has given us time on the Central YouTube channel, so I certainly do appreciate that. And best of luck tomorrow, Coach.
Thanks for having me. Now, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I keep track of the Riverhawks now, and every arc game I try to catch a glimpse of the highlight zone and see if we kept the arc in the right place on Mosey Boulevard. And I always do try to keep those guys in my mind and make those coaches proud that led me down such a good path in my life. So thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to a good game tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach. And now you can watch on the Central YouTube channel and keep up. I suppose you'll be busy on Friday nights, but you can go back and watch and see how they did, especially for that ARC game, as you mentioned, which will be in October. Want to remind all our viewers, we have volleyball today. You see, I'm at the Omni Center right now. We're in between games, and the next one's starting at 5:30 here, so I got to get over and get to that game. We got volleyball for you today and tomorrow morning, and then we will have the big football matchup, Ellsworth at Central at UWL. Game time, 6 o'clock. We'll be on the air for pregame at 5:45. Coach Heller versus Coach Olson, two YouTube favorites. I'm excited for it. Hope you are too. Hope to see you tuning in tomorrow night.